Hello everybody, it's Andy here from A Media Games. In this video I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. This isn't a foolproof method, it isn't always the perfect way to do it. It's just, if you don't have access to Blender, you don't want to use Blender or any other kind of 3D software to make 3D models, this is kind of trying to keep everything in-house. So if you're using Unreal Engine and you want to model or create like custom rock faces or giant pieces of turd, then what you can do is you can use the modeling tools. So if you go to selection at the top and click on modeling tools, and let's create these out of cubes. So let me delete these two first, and we'll go back through this entire process step by step, and hopefully you can learn something or give you a new way to potentially model rocks, boulders, things like that in Unreal without having to rely on something else. So we're going to go up to box, so modeling tools, and then we're going to go to create. I'm going to click on box, and just before we drop this in, we can notice down here, so we have our object selection here, and we have down here we have our width. So this is currently a 1 meter cube, so it's 1 by 1 by 1, width, length and height, and we want to add some subdivisions to this. So we're going to set a small amount, so like 40, and then we're just going to click into our level, and now we have a cube. And you're probably thinking, well, how do we turn this into kind of like a rock formation or something that closely or even to some degree represents a rock formation? So what we're going to do is we're going to click accept, and we're going to copy this. So we're going to hold Alt and then drag, and then we're going to do it again, hold Alt and drag. So now we have 3 cubes, and we're going to utilize some pretty decent powerful tools inside Unreal to turn these into a smooth or boulder-like kind of surface. We're going to select this one, and let's kind of just copy this, and then maybe shrink this one down a little bit, and let's drag and drop that there. Bring this out slightly. Let's copy this one and place that. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Let's copy this one and drag. Alt, left click and drag. So now we have these 5 cubes. Let's bring some forward. So let's copy this one, and this one. Alt and drag, and then shrink these down. And let's move them in position, just like so. So we have kind of this shape going on. Let's bring that one out actually, like that. That one out like that. And then move these 3 back a little tiny bit. You can pretty much just experiment and do anything you like. So this, again, this is not me trying to make something that looks perfect. This is me showing you how to do it so you can take time and do it better yourself. So with all of these selected now, so let's select this one and then press Shift and E, and that'll select all of our cubes. You can see they're all highlighted here. Now what we want to do is we're going to go down to Voxel, and we're going to go to a Voxel blend. I'm going to click that button. It's going to process, and it's going to turn it into kind of what looks like some containers or boxes covered by like a tarpaulin or a sheet, right? But we want it to be smoother than this. So what we can do is we can increase our blend fall off and our blend power. Now I've already done that. So you can see here you've got this kind of slope, but it's a little bit too square on the edges. So let's press cancel, and let's get this one, and let's copy that and shrink that down. So we have this kind of slope on this edge, just like that. And let's copy and put that on the end, just like so. Let's see now how that looks. Let's do a voxel blend. Okay, so a little bit better. We've got more of a smooth surface going on here. So let's now click accept. So now that we have our blended voxel, so it's basically merged all of those meshes together, what we can do now is if we go to mesh and we go to remesh, you can see here we can remesh this block, and it turns it all into triangles. So let's see if we can change this to like 10,000. There we go. Gives us more definition. and we can keep it on uniform, put the smoothing rate to 1, and then click accept. So now we have this large mess. So we can copy it, we can shrink it down, and we can turn it, put it in position. Let's turn off snapping, that does not help. Surface location rotation, there we go. So let's go back. Let's put these down. So let's bring that down. Let's put that in position. Let's rotate it slightly, just like so. Maybe copy this one. Let's bring that over, just like so. And we can do it again. We could just keep adding on to this if we want to. Let's bring that down a little bit, bring that in position, and then we can select all these, go to Voxel, Voxel blend, and we've just created this pretty decent looking large boulder that you can use on a beach, anywhere that you want. And again, we're utilizing all this internal tools inside Unreal. A lot of people don't seem to be using it, especially people that are new to Unreal. They don't know it exists. So now that we have our mesh sort of created, what we can do now is go back to mesh. Let's remesh this so we have a little bit more of order out of chaos. Let's set this to 10,000 and then click accept. So now this is 10,000 triangles, which is well within a perfect amount of, it's not too dense. You're looking at like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of triangles before it becomes kind of like a real issue. But this is 10,000 triangles, so it's perfectly acceptable to use, especially even with nanite. But now, the problem we've got now, let's apply a material to this. See, now we apply a material to this, and the problem is this isn't UV unwrapped. So how do we UV unwrap this mess of a rock, right? It's got no texture, it's just got a color. So what we can do, again, utilizing Unreal Engine, is go down to UVs, and we can use our auto UV system inside Unreal. And this is going to give us this really nice checkerboard. Now, the settings I have for this are patch builder and distortion threshold 2.0 and angle threshold 90. This gives us a really nice clean unwrap. It doesn't always work on everything, so you will have to kind of play around with these settings to get the checkerboard pattern that you want. And we can also increase our texture resolution. So let's go 2048. And we're going to go to checker density and change that to 40, and then we're going to click accept. See, now we've changed. Now we've got a little bit more of that detail of the texture coming through, but it's still blurry. So how do we fix that? Okay, the next step is going to go to project our UVs. So currently, right now, with the material isn't set up correctly for the size of the actual object. So we're going to project our UVs onto our mesh, and we can see already it's starting to look a little bit better. So we're going to go and reset our dimensions, and we're going to go and reset this. Now we can leave it as that and then click accept. And there we have a custom made boulder or rock that you can easily set up and place into your level. You can play with this. You know, you can make another one if you want the rock to look different, or you want to create a custom rock face and then merge and blend it all together. It's quite simple. You can just create the kind of shape or pattern that you want, just like this. Putting it all into position. Let's rotate that so it's kind of like this shape. And then if you want to do the same again, you can just select all these, go to Voxel, Voxel blend it, and you can create your own custom rocks, add them into your level, add them into a forest, beach, cliffs, whatever you want to use them for. And you just play around with the textures, play around with the look you want to kind of fine tune the type of boulder or rock that you want into your game. So I hope the video helps. I hope you found it useful. If you do, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel and I appreciate it. So thanks very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.